I've broken down how much money you can potentially save living a zero waste life in these 4 videos. But how much does a zero waste life save me personally? Because in those 4 videos, I explored some zero waste swaps that I don't use, such as a menstrual cup and reusable diapers. So this is no longer just hypothetical. This is legitimately how much money a zero waste life saves me every single year. And yes, it's thousands of dollars. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste and ways that we can all be activists. If I talk a little bit too fast for you, there's a gear icon right down here where you can change the speed of the video to something that better suits you. So these are my biggest zero waste money saving swaps and also some estimates that we have at the end, such as like turning off the lights. I don't have a real number for that, and I'm sure I forgot some. So there's still potentially room for my zero waste life to save me even more money, but I think this is the bulk of it. Let's just get into it. I've been using a reusable water bottle since I was in high school, strictly to save money. Like, I was sort of eco-ish in high school, but I used a reusable water bottle before I lived zero waste to save money. Like, that was the sole purpose I used a reusable water bottle in the early days. And that's because bottled water is really expensive. It can be $6 to $20 per pack. It may not seem like much for one purchase, but it adds up. I, one person, drink 2 water bottles per day or 14 water bottles per week. A pack of 40 would last me about 3 weeks. Now let's round it up to 1 pack per month for easy math. That means that I would need 1 pack per month on the low end, 12 packs per year, which would cost $36 to $240 per year, depending on the brand. And if you use a reusable water bottle and you fill it at home, it's practically free. Yes, you pay a water bill, but it's hard to calculate precisely how much of my water that I consume on my water bill is for me to strictly drink, but certainly it's not $240 worth. Next is period underwear. Easily a swap that saves me so much money. Unfortunately, they are the most expensive zero waste period swap. If you are a menstrual cup or disc user, that will save you even more money because it's one purchase and it's reusable for like 10 years or something. Period underwear don't last that long, and you do have to buy a lot of them per cycle. Fortunately, I am gifted a lot of mine to review for the channel, but I totally understand if the cost is what is holding you back from using period underwear yourself. So on average, period underwear costs about $20 per pair, but there are brands like the Period Company which are under $10 per pair. So a cycle typically lasts 5 to 6 days, and you could, in theory, get away with 2 to 3 pair of period underwear for the entire cycle. Just wash immediately, dry, and then use once dry. Now for comparison, pads cost $8 to $10 for a pack of 42, and the average person uses 20 to 30 pads per cycle. So for pads, that's $60 to $80 a year max on disposables. So yeah, if you were to buy period underwear right now, it wouldn't really save you much money in comparison, but since they are reusable, every year after, I save $60 to $80 per year. Next up is rags, and I love rags especially because they are free. I have never purchased a rag before. I have found them in the lost and found in the laundromat. I have been gifted some, like for our wedding that we're still using. They're very easy to find at the thrift store. You can also just make rags out of old clothing. So really, there's no need to buy like fancy new rags if you don't want to. The average American household uses 80 rolls of paper towels per year, and the average cost per roll is $2 to $4, meaning a total cost of around $160 to $320 per year. And if you make those rags for free, or you already have some rags lying around, this is totally free and it's all savings. Similar to that is reusable tissues. I have some reusable tissues from a brand called Bodhi, and I also have some reusable tissues that I have just cut squares out of an old t-shirt, and both work amazing. In 2020, the average person used 2 boxes of tissues per month, but some people used up to 8. Of course, this was peak COVID times, but you get the idea. The cost is about $150 to $4 per box, depending on the brand. That means it would cost $3 to $8 per month, or $36 to $96 per year to use disposables. And again, this is a swap that you can make totally for free. You're gonna be shook at how much money a library card saved me in 2024. A library card is such an underrated zero waste swap, but how is it zero waste? I outline the full benefits economically and ecologically of library cards in this video. But in short, borrowing prevents you from buying something new. It prevents everyone else who uses the library from buying something new, and preventing so many trees from being cut down, processed, shipped, and so forth. Not to mention, libraries also borrow out other things like sewing machines and tools and lawnmowers and bounce houses. It's called a library of things. Check your library and see if they have one available to you. You can save even more money this way. So in 2024, I borrowed 90 books from the library. Most of them were audio, but at an average cost of $20 per book, this saved me $1,800 in 2024 alone. This year I am reading a bit slower, but despite that, in the first 6 months of the year, the library has already saved me $430 alone just on books. I have also rented movies that I didn't calculate. And by the end of 2025, I will have saved an estimated $900. The library will save you tons of money. It is so worth it. And another great hidden gem when it comes to reading is free little libraries. I'm sure you've seen these little houses on the side of the street, by churches, by stores, with little books in them. The premise is you take a book, you leave a book. book, or you can just leave a bunch of books, or you can just take a book. But please don't take all of the books. Now, I don't really get that many books here, but from 2024, I did snag 7 books from Free Little Libraries. Yes, I keep track. And I estimate that Dan got about the same number of books from Free Little Libraries too. So in our household, we got 14 free books in 2024, once again at an average cost of $20 per book. We saved about $280 in 2024 from using Free Little Libraries. And of course, don't forget to return the favor and donate your old books to your neighbors too. I could not tell you the last time I bought a disposable zipper bag or other disposable stuff like plastic wrap, because I've been using a lot of different reusable brands like Stasher and Crumbles and Durable and sourdough to store my leftovers in instead of plastic. One Stasher bag is really all you need if you wash it every day, but let's say you buy a pack of 4 for them for a larger family or to use in multiple areas throughout the week. If you get 2 sandwich bags for $26 and 2 of their larger bags for $44, that would be a total of $70. Yeah, that sounds pretty steep, but they last years and years and years. Disposables, on the other hand, an average family in the US uses about 500 disposables every single year. And even on Amazon, where prices are usually the cheapest, it's $10 for a pack of 50 single-use bags. So the average family would have to buy 10 of these packs to get 500 bags, which would still cost $100 per year in disposables. So even in the first year of buying your Stasher bags, you're still gonna save money, but every year after that, you're gonna save $100. The easiest way to save money while still getting to consume tech and electronics and gadgets is by shopping refurbished. I have bought tech secondhand on sites like Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, but of course that's like kind of tricky to gauge how well it's still working. So I don't buy any like huge purchases on these sites. I'm talking more like a $20 juicer, a vacuum cleaner, and things like that. But when it comes to replacing my phone, I'm gonna go to a like certified refurbisher called Back Market, and they also do stuff like iPads and laptops and other big tech purchases, and they are a certified refurbisher. So if you're looking for a brand new iPhone 14 with 128 gigabytes of storage from Apple, it would cost $730. The exact same model from Back Market is $452. That's savings of $278 for just one device. Not to mention, Back Market can also buy your old tech from you. So if you order your phone, you transfer everything from your old phone to your new phone, and then you send us one back to resell, it might give you a couple $100 for this, and now you're saving even more money. Not to mention, it is so much more ethical to shop secondhand specifically for tech. The mining for all of these heavy metals and other sort of things that are required to build our devices are mined using enslavement in places like the Democratic Republic of the Congo and other places in the global south. And you can learn more about that in this book called Cobalt Red by Siddharth Kara, or in this video. Speaking of tech, you've got to get on the rechargeable battery game. This zero waste swap is so underrated. I truly never see anybody talking about this, and it's one of my favorites of all time. So while not the best brand in the world, there are some more eco-friendly options out there. What's most accessible to me, unfortunately, is Energizer. So we're just going to compare Energizer brand to keep it consistent. A pack of rechargeable AA is $13.76, and a 4-pack of AAAs is $13.76 as well. Plus the charging port, which is just a one-time purchase, of $18.97. Over the years, we have bought a few more, so let's just double that and call it 2 8-packs, which would be a total of $74. Now, the average American household buys about 90 alkaline batteries per year. Again, for me, comparing that to 2 packs of 8, it would cost $77. So the first year that I bought these reusables, I only saved $3, but every year after that I have saved over $77. Moving on to a bidet. I am not really a fan of reusable toilet paper, but I am a big bidet fan, and it does help really cut down toilet paper usage. The average bidet user reduces their toilet paper usage by 75%. Meanwhile, the average bidet-free household uses 141 rolls of toilet paper per year, meaning that a bidet user would only use around 36 rolls of toilet paper per year. If you go for a more classic brand like Charmin, that would save you $112 per year, and if you use something like Who Gives a Crap bamboo toilet paper, that would save you about $109 per year. Now keep in mind, I did write this post before Who Gives a Crap implemented their tariff prices. I think they are charging like $3 to $5 more per box than they used to, but I'm not sure. I haven't purchased from them personally in a long time, but I know that they are a popular eco brand, so I wanted to include them, but I think their prices are higher these days. Of course, you do have to factor in the cost of a bidet, but we got our bidet, we bought our Tushy Bidet, I think in 2020, and then we were gifted a Whisper, I think in 2021. So a Tushy costs $229, while a Whisper costs $99, so I highly recommend Whisper if you're on a budget, and I also just like it better. We gave our Tushy away. I think one of my family members has it in their house now, and we kept the Whisper for ourselves. It is so good. We love it so much more, and it's cheaper. So every year you save around $100 to $170 on toilet paper. Just by using a bidet, you don't have to switch to reusable toilet paper to save this much money. In the kitchen, we never use any disposable plates, cups, bowls, cutlery. We just use all reusables. We already have all this in our home, and we've thrifted a few more pieces over the years, but I'm just gonna call it free. Just like with the toilet paper, I'm going to compare a very popular brand to an eco brand, because the eco brand is gonna cost more money, just to see the potential savings here if you buy the absolute cheapest brand on the market. So Dixie Paper plates costs $36 for 300 plates or 12 cents per plate. That would mean 550 plates cost $66. But if you're trying to be eco-friendly, you might buy from a brand like Repurpose, which costs $16.99 for 44 plates or 39 cents per plate, making 550 plates $212. And the cost for disposable bowls right here are quite similar to the plates, and the cost of cutlery is right here, just to save some time. So per year on the low end would cost you $233, and on the high end, using a fancy eco brand like Repurpose would cost you $873. So this is how much you can save every single year by using reusables. Reducing waste also means I use fewer trash bags. Of course, this is hard to precisely calculate, but here's my best guess. According to Statista, most Americans use 25 or more garbage bags per month. So let's make that an even 6 bags per week. If you theoretically reduce your waste in half in terms of recycling, composting, using other zero waste swaps, buying less, and making stuff at home, you could then use 3 bags per week. And honestly, that's still kind of high for me personally. I think we use really 1 bag per week, maybe even less. So let's just keep it at that 3 bags per week to be conservative, which is 156 bags per year. And for a cheap plastic option, 50 plastic bags would cost you about $10, making the total $31 for 156 bags. But if you're like me and you want to buy a more eco-friendly option, such as Hold On, those cost $14 for a pack of 25, or $87.36 for 156 bags. Remember that 156 is what I'm paying. I'm also saving that amount of money as well, so you would save between $30 and $80 per year by reducing your trash in half. Another one that saves me so much money is mending. Keep in mind, I'm not a very good mender. My mending is mediocre at best, but it does save me money. This number is going to vary depending on what you mend, how much you mend, but here's a few things that I mended in 2024 and how much it saved me last year. I mended a pair of jeans that I thrifted, but new was around $30. I mended a pair of sleep shorts, which I thrifted, but buying some new would be $14 to $50 depending on the brand. I also mended one pair of Darn Tough socks, which is $24 new. I mended our fitted sheet, which is $90 from the brand Sheets and Giggles. I mended a t-shirt that I thrifted, so technically it's irreplaceable, but if I were to replace it, it would be something like this from Maddie Stitches for $70. I dyed our comforter, which is a different form of mending, which cost $116 new from Buffy. I mended a Girlfriend Collective sweatshirt for $78, and I mended one pair of Girlfriend Collective sweatpants, which cost $47. So just those few items saved me $505. Another skill that I have learned thanks to Zero Waste Living is making sourdough, and you can learn more skills that I learned thanks to Zero Waste Living in this video. I love the texture of my bread, I love the flavor of my bread, and I love that my bread does not cost $8 to $10 per loaf. So we eat 1 loaf of sourdough per week. If you're getting it at the grocery store, it's probably around $5 per loaf, and if we're getting it at the farmer's market, it's closer to $10, maybe even $12 per loaf. But let's just say 5 to 10. That means if we were to be buying this sourdough, it would cost $260 to $520 per year just on sourdough. But if you make it at home, it's pretty free. Really, all you have to buy is flour and salt. And yes, you do have to factor in a little bit of energy for heating your oven, but that's really hard to precisely calculate how much of our electricity bill goes to making sourdough. My favorite brand is King Arthur, which a 5-pound bag of flour costs $7. And this usually makes me about 4 to 5 loaves, meaning I get 4 to 5 loaves for just $7. Otherwise, 4 to 5 loaves would cost me $20 to $50. So subtracting the bag of flour, I am saving $13 to $43 on sourdough. So for my calculations, I did add a little bit of money for the electricity and a little bit of money for the water bill, because those are some ingredients that you need, which I just called $120 per year. As a little bit arbitrary, but let's just keep using it. This means every year I would save $56 to $316 per year by making sourdough at home. Speaking of baking, I also love using a silicone baking mat. Gridman is a really popular brand that I have seen at many zero waste stores. They're easy to find and quite affordable at $11 for a pack of 2. A box of parchment paper, on the other hand, from Grove costs $4.80, which gets you 24 uses. And I also found this really cheap roll on Amazon. This is just for numbers' sake. I hate Amazon, and you can learn more about why in this video, which is 200 feet of parchment paper for $16. If your pan is 2 feet long, that's 100 uses out of this roll. Regardless, you will still get easily over 100 uses out of your silicone baking mat, saving that $16. One of the most common questions I get is the leaf shave worth it? Because it's expensive. Now, when you're shopping for a safety razor, you don't have to buy a leaf shave. I think Dan's safety razor that he got years ago was like $10 at our local store. Buy whatever works for you. But leaf shave will still save you tons of money. So let's compare it to disposables. So Gillette says that you can use one of their razors 3 to 10 times, and I'm willing to bet that's on the low end just because they want you to buy more razors. You can probably use it more than that. But let's just call it, if you're shaving every single day, 1 razor per week, or 52 razors per year. Now, what's the cost? The popular brand Venus sells packs of 3 for $7 or $2.33 per razor. Over the course of a year, this would cost you $121.33. A new razor will run you $84 for the razor itself and $12 for a pack of 50 blades. That's a total of $96. Keeping in mind, a blade, just like with disposables, should last you 3 to 10 uses per blade. So even at full price, you're still saving around $25 in your first year of using the leaf shave, and then every year after that, you're saving the full $96. A zero waste swap I don't use a whole lot, but still will save me money and waste is reusable makeup remover pads. I made mine myself out of an old t-shirt and out of an old pillowcase, so it was totally free for me. So let's see how much I'm saving by not buying disposables. Target brand will cost you $2.89 for 25 wipes or 12 cents per wipe. If I were to use one per day, it would be $42 per year. And when it comes to makeup remover, I have been using this one from Zara & Co that I was gifted. I have not bought any makeup remover, but I would buy theirs again for $24. So let's say I have to buy one bottle per year, I'm still saving $39 every single year. Loose leaf tea is another one that saves tons of money. My friend Tiny Waist on TikTok did an excellent comparison of this. I will link her video down below. But according to her findings, the tea bags cost $2.09 per ounce, while the loose leaf cost only $1.50 per ounce. The tea bags were 1.73 ounces, which gets you 20 servings, which is approximately 0.08 ounces per serving or 12.5 servings per ounce of tea leaves. So if you buy 2 ounces of bulk tea, you'd get 25 servings of tea for just $3. If you drink tea once per day for a whole year, you would need 29.2 ounces for the year. If you're buying Bigelow tea bags, that would cost you $61, and the price of loose leaf tea that Tiny Waist provided in her video would cost you $43. So maybe it's not huge savings, but it is $17 per year for just this one tea. If you drink tea several times a day, it's even more. Forget buying jars, just reuse jars for free. I use jars to run to the bulk store to store leftovers in, to organize stuff. And since they're technically free, right, because like it came with the pasta I bought, it came with the peanut butter I bought, it's gonna save me all of this money every single year. Depending on how many jars you need and how many you use, a pack of jars typically costs around $15. So for every pack of jars that you don't buy, you're saving all of that money. My grocery list consists of using scrap paper instead of buying brand new notepads, which I used to do back in the day, but now I just reuse stuff. It's ugly, it's not the cutest grocery list in the world, but it's free. Can't beat free. A small paper pad from Target costs $6 and should last about a year for my groceries. But if I also need one for a to-do list and other notes, that would be $12 per year on the low end. But if I were to buy something a little bit more aesthetic, maybe even more eco-friendly, I found one on Etsy for $14 for 55 pages, which should also last a year. But if I needed two, that would cost $28. So not huge savings, but I can save $12 to $28 per year by reusing paper. The last one that I attempted to calculate was not driving as much. We still have a car, we still drive a car, but for the most part, we walk and bike as much as we can now that we live in a walkable community, which you can learn more about in this video. So according to NASDAQ and AAA, you could save around $2,100 on gas and $1,300 on maintenance if you totally give up your car and otherwise would have driven the average 13,500 miles per year. Now, we didn't give up our car completely, we still do drive it, but our gas prices in California are $2 over the national average. Love that. So the savings might actually end up being about the same. But to be generous, I will lower it to about $1,000 saved per year on gas and around $700 per year on maintenance. But before we add up the grand totals, here are a few other miscellaneous things that I do in my everyday life, zero waste habits and swaps, that do save me money. Like, they have to save me money, but I just can't precisely calculate how much. You'll see what I mean in a moment. These are things like making a grocery list so that I don't overbuy food, reusing food waste to cook like brown bananas, broccoli stems, etc., not over consuming stuff. I buy truly what I need and nothing extra. Other items at the bulk store do cost less, such as herbs and spices. Using a reusable coffee cup at cafes saves a few cents per purchase. Some grocery stores also give me discounts for using my own bags. I conserve energy, I conserve water. I probably save a few dollars per year by using a reusable floss pick. I work through my craft stash before buying anything new, and I've also been trading skills and items with friends and neighbors. Once again, I think it's being generous in this estimate, but I think that all of these small things combined would save about $100 per year. It is time for the grand totals. A reusable water bottle saves me $600 to $200 per year. Period underwear save me $100 per year. Rags save $160 to $320 per year. Reusable tissues are $36 to $96 per year. Library books are crazy savings at $900 to $1,800 per year, depending on how much I read. Free Little Libraries about $150 to $280 per year. Stasher or similar bags would save $100 per year. Refurbished tech, depending on how much tech I buy per year, can save upwards of $500 per year. Rechargeable batteries is about $77 per year. A bidet saves us $109 to $167 per year. Reusable cutlery and dishes is about $233. Reducing trash bags is about $31 to $87 per year. Mending instead of buying new can save over $500 per year. Making sourdough for ourselves is $56 to $316 per year, depending on where we purchase it otherwise. A silicone baking mat is about $16. Reusable napkins is $39 to $132 per year. A safety razor is $19 to $109 per year. Reusable makeup pads is about $42 to $83. Loose leaf tea is $17 per flavor per year. Reusing jars is about $27. Using scrap paper instead of buying new is about $28. Using homemade cleaners is $20 to $54 per year. Reducing our reliance on our car is about $1,000 on gas and $700 on maintenance. And of course, we have the miscellaneous items adding up to about $100 per year. So, for the grand total, just me and my household, we save around $4,967.23 and $7,042.59 every single year thanks to zero waste living. A lot of it really just comes down to conserving, using what you have, investing in zero waste swaps. They really do add up over the long run, and being content with what you have and not over-consuming. If you need more tips on how to break up with overconsumption, I highly recommend you check out this video next. I found this truly fascinating to calculate. It was a lot of work. I hope that you enjoyed it. This is just proof that zero waste living, it might seem expensive to buy a reusable water bottle. It might seem expensive to buy your reusable grocery bag, but look how much it can save you in the long run. And a lot of these were free. Reusable tissues, reusable napkins, reusable rags, a library card. All of that stuff is free, and that stuff has the most savings too. So don't forget to check out the 4 videos that preceded this one that prove that you can save upwards of $10,000 every single year if you implemented all of these eco swaps. They will all be linked down below. So let us know, how do you save money by living zero waste? Which one of your zero waste habits and swaps saves you the most money? Does anyone beat me and how much money a library saves them per year? Surely somebody does. Surely somebody reads more than me and saves over $1,800 per year with a library. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I know that this got a little bit long, but I really appreciate you sticking with me to prove that zero waste living is not only cheap, is not only affordable, but it can save you money. Be sure to send this to your friends who think that zero waste living is expensive. Let's bust that myth once and for all. Thank you once again for watching. I appreciate your time. I will see you in the next one, but until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye guys. The cost is about $100, nope, $1. Hello? Focus? There's the focus. A library, let's do a new file. So yeah, just see his little feet. Oh, actually not when I'm sitting like that. He's been behind me this whole time. My preferred brand is King Arthur for a $5 pound. So my favorite brand is King Arthur, which a $5. Oh my gosh. Now, what about Leaf? A new razor will run. Now, what about Leaf? A new razor will run.